Today on the show, head coaches are out, front offices are scrambling, and 7 teams are staring at franchise-defining decisions. We're breaking down every firing, every vacancy, and most importantly, who actually fits each job versus who is just winning the press conference. No recycled takes, no safe opinions, just the hires that make the most sense. And as if coaching chaos wasn't enough, the wild card weekend slate is locked in and it is loaded. Bills versus Jaguars, a heavyweight contender walking into one of the league's most unpredictable environments. Packers versus Bears, history, pressure, and a rivalry that never needs extra stakes, but somehow we got them anyway. Which contender survives and which season ends in disaster? Don't go anywhere. This is the Blindside Blitz. Welcome, everybody, to the Blindside Blitz. Happy New Year. This is Jim McPhee, and right there is my guy, Joe DeCapita. Joe, how are you doing, buddy? Happy New Year, brother.
Oh, my God, dude. Oh, my God. May has been insane.
We get the year news, already, right?
We just got to dive into this thing because we get the news that not the coaches that we thought were going to be available are available. And then we got a sprinkle of surprises with maybe some coordinator firings. We're going to get into that. But the big fish in a small pond that got fired, John Harbaugh from the Baltimore Ravens, just got let go. Are you kidding me? Like, this is a Super Bowl winning coach. This is a guy who is a really, really good head coach. And for the Baltimore Ravens to make this decision, I got to tell you, I think this is a mistake. I really do. And I get the history with Harbaugh in the Ravens. You look at this team overall, I just want to run through this real quick. From 2008 to current, right? From 25, these seasons, John Harbaugh lost the conference chip, lost in the divisional round, lost in the divisional round again, lost the conference chip again. Then in 2012, wins the Super Bowl, misses the playoffs the next year, lost the divisional round, missed the playoffs the next 3 years, gets to the wild card, loses there, gets to the division round, loses, gets to the division round again, loses, misses the playoffs, loses the wild card, then gets to the conference championship, but loses, and then lost in the divisional round in 24, and then currently misses the playoffs because of that Steeler game. They couldn't get it done. So you see how you get it from both standpoints in a sense, where the Ravens as an organization, as prestigious as they are, they're one of the best well-run organizations out there in the front office. You got one Super Bowl in 18 years. You got one Super Bowl, and you've created this and built this from the ground up, this talent, the players that you have at your disposal. And somehow you only just got one Super Bowl. And you can hear, like, from that list, there's a lot of, you made the playoffs, but you lost. You made the playoffs, but you lost. And this isn't just the reason why John Harbaugh got relieved of his duties, because there are also indicators coming out of Baltimore. Guess the players were talking this season in the locker rooms amongst themselves. And it sounds like as they got closer to the end of the season, Harbaugh started to lose the players. He started to lose the locker room. And once that kind of happens, that trend for a coach is dismal. It's done. Bring the casket out. Your job's over. So not only you had that, but also as a last-ditch effort to see if Harbaugh will comply with the organization and what they wanted to see for the future, for next year. They wanted to move on and cut Todd Monken. They wanted to move on from the OC and say, "Hey, we need to bring in a different OC in. This is what we want to do." And John refused straight up. So not only did you refuse the wishes of the front office and maybe even the owner. I don't know if that's just the owner or maybe it was just you know, like a panel of what their opinion was. But again, more factors than you would anticipate for Harbaugh getting fired.
Yeah, I mean, it is head scratching to me because if you look at John Harbaugh, his career regular season record is 180 and
80, yeah.
113. He
Yep.
ranks 14th all time in
Mhm.
victories
Mhm.
among NFL coaches. He's got the consistency. You talk about one Super Bowl in 18 seasons or whatever.
Mhm.
That's still more than some of these franchises ever seen. And winning and consistency is there. And I think look how close they were this year without even having a healthy Lamar Jackson for half this season. And starting off the season the way it did, with the defense playing poorly and injuries on top of it, not just even with Lamar Jackson, and still having a shot to win into the playoffs. That means something still. I mean, if that's your worst season, like 8-9 record, missed the playoffs for first time since 2021.
Mhm.
I mean, I would sign up for that right now. I mean, I think I understand the things if ownership or somebody wants to make a decision and change an OC and he's like, no. Well, this is the head coach. You hired him to make these decisions, to hire
Mhm.
the offensive coordinator. And I don't think that was the issue. But if you are going to say, no, I'm not going to do this, and somebody above you says, well, you're going to do it anyway, stuff like that, it's not working. Fine, that's good. I think good for John Harbaugh because I wouldn't want to stick in a franchise or a situation or a team that's going to be like that. I'm the one that's in charge. I make these decisions, and I don't think that was the problem. If you want to get
That
the coach because of the season that you had and then how the offense was running, I don't think it was all the offensive coordinators doing on this whole thing. So
No, not at all. And it's not just this year. It's that this offense really hasn't taken over games like it used to be when Greg Roman was in there. When Greg Roman was there, probably the most successful offensive coordinator they had with tandem with Lamar Jackson, obviously. And then he ended up finding a different, avenue, different path, went elsewhere. They didn't want to re-up him. And it makes me wonder the Ravens mentality for today's NFL has changed. Like when Greg Roman was there, obviously they were heavy run, play action off the run, use Lamar's legs, use Lamar's arm. And then when they moved on from Roman, it was almost like they're like, "Oh, we're going to do an offensive reset in terms of philosophy. Still have those similar attributes that we once had, but we'll bring in Todd Monken. He's kind of similar. He kind of calls a similar game. Maybe that'll get us closer to the modern day NFL. Maybe we'll be a little bit more balanced." But we saw a lot of running, still kind of the same thing, but not called the same. And you wonder if that's the direction the Ravens want to go. Is they want to get a little bit more modernized offense to go with Lamar Jackson in this running game. So it's one of these things that it's confusing to most people out there in the NFL world, whether you're a fan or you're maybe even a coach. Because I heard that a lot of people in the league circles are absolutely shocked by this move. Could not believe that this actually was a thing, that this was happening. But and here's an interesting tidbit too. So since John Harbaugh was let go, 45 minutes after the first 45 minutes that passed, his agent told everyone that he's received every phone call for any team that has a vacancy.
mhm.
Any team that has a vacancy has called the agent already in the first 45 minutes to see what his availability is. Where does he want to go? What is he looking for? We want him. We want to get him in the building now. Let's do it tonight. Let's do it tomorrow morning. Like,
Yeah.
let's just make it happen. So, and here's the interesting thing is it's these 7 teams and the Ravens. It's 7 teams including the Ravens. So that
Yes.
means that there is a secret mystery team that still has a head coach in place,
Hmm.
but has an affinity for John Harbaugh that
Yeah.
really wants him. And that team, I gotta say, is the Miami Dolphins.
Hmm.
And McDaniels is still there, but if they can get John Harbaugh, they're gonna move on from him. They're gonna bring in Harbaugh. So that's a team to watch that I could really see. Or maybe it's the Jets. Maybe Aaron Glenn isn't so safe now. Because when you have a head coach of this caliber, are you kidding me? You drop everything like, no, he's better than what we got. Oh, you know what I mean? Like, just drop your hat. Go. Let's make this deal happen. Because this guy, this doesn't happen often when a head coach of his caliber, who isn't, you know, 74 years old and can only give you a contract or be around for 2 or 3 years, and then he's got to leave. You got to do this whole mess again. But now this guy has been there, done that. He's won games like you just listed his record, 180 and what, 118,
113. Yeah.
113.
Hmm.
So that's an impressive career record as a head coach. And I don't care. And I read the list down from when he started with Baltimore to current. But you notice something? There was a trend there. He made the playoffs a lot.
Yeah.
Like he was
Yeah.
in the playoffs a lot. To me, that's success. To
Yes.
me,
It is.
I understand you don't have more than one Super Bowl win, but still, if you're able to be a constant competitive team in this modern day NFL and always be in the hunt, I'll take that over anything.
Yeah. It puts butts in the seats. It's everything. Look at you. Would you rather have like that kid Jet fan team? I hate this team. You know, I was born into this. Is that what you want walking around? No, you have Baltimore Ravens fans thinking they have a shot every single year, and it's a legit shot. It's not like Dallas
Oh
Cowboy
yeah.
shot. You know, they have a legit shot every year. Pittsburgh Steelers. I've been trying to guesstimate their downfall, and I still have been wrong every single time. And that's the thing too. You're getting consistency out of Mike Tomlin, but like you said, they're maybe just aging out sometimes, right?
Mhm.
He is 63 years old, ranked one of the oldest head coaches out there. So, and longest tenured under Mike Tomlin right there. So you're seeing teams maybe turn the switch to say, hey, let's get more youthful on this type of scheme that we want. But then you have other teams that have tried that out, failed multiple times.
Mhm.
And now they're potentially, like you said, they're picking up the phone. We need a veteran head coach that has experience, that has success. And this guy is falling into their laps right now at this moment, in this point in time. So
Yeah, it's
I think
so
it's the perfect
interesting how
storm for a
this
lot of these different teams.
it's so interesting how this all came about, and there was a
Mhm.
lot of variables involved,
Yeah.
and it had nothing to do with because they lost and missed the playoffs this year.
Right.
They
Yeah,
they
it
went through
has
it.
to be something because that doesn't make sense at all.
They went through a lot.
Has to be
Like,
something underlining.
they were dragged through the mud this year,
Mhm.
and for them to even have a chance to still come out and still compete for that divisional win to
Right.
make the playoffs, that was amazing. That shows you that the team didn't give up on them, but there's been other and maybe it's not the
I don't
whole
understand the disconnect with the
so
team though.
but maybe what this happens though, when you start to lose faith, like your players, it's not everybody, it's not the whole roster. It could be several
I think it's
starters.
just certain stars, certain
It's
team
several
players.
starters, probably
Yeah.
most likely. We don't know for a fact, but
Mhm.
we're surmising and guessing here that it was enough of a to move the needle a little bit more. And now you have the Ravens they're in a hard spot. They're like, oh well, do we ignore what the players said? We don't
Mhm.
know how many players. We don't know. We don't know if it was Lamar Jackson. We don't know if it was Derrick Henry. We don't know if it was any other superstars on that team, but it must have been they must have been good enough
Just
players
enough.
to
Yeah.
hold water.
Yeah.
And they listened to that. And then on top of it, with the other variable where we talk refusal to move on from the OC,
Mhm.
this is you don't run the team. I'm sorry. You're a head coach. You're supposed to be the leader of the team, but you don't run the team. And they wanted to go a different route in terms of vision, and John Harbaugh just didn't see eye to eye with them. And that's kind of
Mhm.
where we're at now. So Now it's all bets are off.
Mhm.
All the teams that needed a head coach that weren't really sure, they're like, you know what? Well, there's the DC with the 49ers, Robert Saleh. Maybe we go after him. Or we go after the dude Shula in it with the Rams. He's a
Mhm.
DC. He's really good. He's up and coming, right? Like, and then you had some younger guys under McVay, you know, uh,
Mm.
and now you're at a point where like, holy, I can just imagine the organizations that were kind of we've seen this so far. Like we're gonna get into like some of the teams that they're or coaches that they've reached out to. There's interviews that are being had that are being scheduled.
Mhm.
And then this bomb dropped. John Harbaugh. John frickin' Harbaugh. You
Mhm.
can have as your head coach. If you're the lucky team this year in this terrible head coaching cycle, to be honest, it's not like last year's.
Yeah.
Like you had Ben Johnson, you had Mike Vrabel, you had Liam Cohen. You had 3 kind of star coaches that you could go after. Now, everyone's kinda not sure, but then Harbaugh's name came out.
Mhm.
Everybody's shooting for Harbaugh now.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. That's gotta be the one you're shooting for. We've also before this dropped, I mean, the Kevin Stefanski was the big name, right? The, Stefanski's out there. He's offensive-minded coach, but I'm not so, on board with him going to some of these teams that need to develop a quarterback because he hasn't proven that he's developed a quarterback. He's had Baker Mayfield, with the Cleveland Browns. He's had other quarterbacks that he's brought in. I mean, this year they had 4 alone, I think, on the roster. So he hasn't had success either. When you look at his record, he's 45-56 altogether. Postseason, he's 1-2. So, I mean, doesn't show winning. And look at the rosters that he's had. He's had really good defenses and a bunch of them under Jim Schwartz, what he's doing.
Inherited,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they've had Odell Beckham Jr. together before. I mean, a lot of other stars there to try and help this offense and get it going. And it never did. You had Nick Chubb in his prime there. I mean, a lot of opportunities to do something with, and he never did. So I can't really stick him like with the Giants and say, all right, he's going to develop Jackson Dart even better, or he's going to be able to handle that and run the Giants well. And I trust in him that much to move forward as my head coach.
My problem with, Stefanski is you're an offensive-minded guy, right? Like, everybody in the league believes that Stefanski is a good coach, and he might be. He might be a good coach. Maybe he's an even better offensive coordinator, right?
Mm.
Like, maybe that needs to be the idea, is maybe a team needs to bring him in and just be an OC, not a head coach anymore. Take a break from it. Just be an OC because that's where he you know, um, built his career off of. And yeah, he was given that opportunity at Cleveland, and no matter what they did, though, whether they brought in big, huge trade, big, huge money to Deshaun Watson, this is going to be great. We got ourselves a legit quarterback in his prime still. We're going to take off. No matter what pieces they brought in, it never worked. Offensively, we're speaking of.
Mhm.
Defense has always been solid. Defense has always been good. It's always been there. But the offense has never caught up to the defense. And that's the big issue with Cleveland right now. That's why it was imperative that Stefanski get fired right now because he was brought in to fix that offense. And years later, they're still picking high in the draft. It hasn't gotten any better.
Mhm.
Your defense keeps you in games, but the end result is always losing. So it was time for a change. Stefanski's out. Now he's circulating and he's going to take his interviews. And I get it. You're going to bring in a guy because he is an offensive minded guy. He is a good coach, but I don't think it's the head coach where he should be going. I think that he should find a job where he can be an OC again. Because let's face it, not every guy is worthy of being a head coach. Not every guy, every person out there is capable of being the head coach. So here's where we are with Kevin. He's taking the interview with the Giants tomorrow. He'll have an interview with them first. And I
Mhm.
think there's like 3 or 4 other teams that have also inquired, maybe Tennessee Titans as well. But again, I don't think it's the right move. Maybe it's just kicking the tires for some of these teams because it is the first interview. But I think in the very end, I think a team would be wise not to hire him as a head coach, but maybe you hire him as an OC instead.
Yeah, I agree. Also, I think he should take a step back and kind of resettle in as a coordinator. A lot of times that revitalizes your career and your attempt to make it back to a head coaching job. That
Or you just do what Josh McDaniels did.
yeah, just
He
keep
took a whole year off,
yeah.
and nobody wanted him, and then all of a
Mhm.
sudden Vrabel gets his job, and he's like, "Hey, buddy, come back."
But he goes
So
back, and some people that's maybe just where they fit better. Just get behind, call the plays, work with those guys. That's just a
mhm,
better. We've seen teams, or we've seen people in history even, that have been great teachers but not great leaders, or generals. Say a lot
mhm,
of people that were fighting in the Civil War, at West Point, they're grade A marks. People that did great at West Point, but then they become generals in the war. Not so good of a general to lead men all together. Smart, they could
right.
do all this other stuff, but just can't make it on that next level. And that reminds me of Raheem Morris now too. I think he's kind of in that realm. Great defensive coordinator. He's been a defensive coordinator on the Rams, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Mhm,
But once he's elevated to that head coaching position, which he was the head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for a short time, he had a 17-31 record there. And now the Atlanta Falcons 20-25 record. Now altogether 37-56 is his career head coaching record. Not a good one, but defensive
no,
coordinator, hell yeah. And I think
yeah.
that opens up doors for other teams to take a look at him as a DC job. And I think he should look into taking that again. And a team that comes to mind for me, where fans have kind of been disgruntled, ownership has been disgruntled, but Matt Eberflus in the Dallas Cowboys. Say they get rid of Eberflus and
They already did.
interview. Yeah, yeah. Well, now they move on, and this is their guy, Raheem Morris. Bring
Mhm.
Raheem Morris in to help that defense. Now you put that defense in a good spot. Him with this D coordinator. You've got Shoddy at the offense. That team looks a lot better already moving forward into 2026.
So Raheem Morris, it's interesting, right? Like this guy gets a second chance to be a head coach for the Atlanta Falcons, and this has been a long ordeal. It's only been a season really for him, but in my opinion, like this season was going to decide whether he stays or goes. And we didn't notice anything different this time around. You would think that if you're a former head coach, you get a second opportunity. You have to change some things because not everything worked the first time. We didn't see that from Raheem. Raheem did the same exact thing that he normally does. Didn't really make any of the tough decisions ahead earlier in the season. This is the crazy thing, is you had basically benched, uh, Kirk
Kirk
Cousins,
Cousins.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And in favor of the young, unproven Michael Penix. Michael Penix gets hurt, and then later in the season, when the Falcons are playing better, it's because you have Kirk Cousins starting at quarterback, and he's distributing the football. You know what I mean? Just like he was back with Minnesota, man. The guy can get you wins. The guy is a good quarterback. He's not a bad one. And this is also a guy that you gave up on. So what does that show you about the head coach? Head coach couldn't see this. The head coach is the one that's making these decisions too. He's
Mm-hmm.
running the team.
Mm-hmm.
So that right there is another bad issue for them. And then also on top of it for Atlanta, they don't stop there. They fired their GM as well. Terry Fontenot's out.
Yeah.
And that's a even more interesting whole story is you go back to the draft, right? When Arthur Blank, the owner, was sitting there and was absolutely shocked that it was caught on camera. You have to go look if you haven't seen it, go take a look at it, go on YouTube, find it. I know it's out there somewhere. Um, but Arthur Blank looks absolutely shocked when they took Michael Penix with the 7th overall pick. They had other needs.
Mm-hmm.
They brought in Cousins. Cousins was their
Yeah.
starter,
Mm-hmm.
but Terry Fontenot still drafted a quarterback. And that drafted quarterback, by the way, when he has shown promise, however, he went down with another ACL. This is like his freaking 7th ACL injury or something.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's going into college.
Yeah.
College, he had a lot of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
And now he had another one in the NFL already, and he just started
Yes.
as the quarterback. So
Mm-hmm.
You got an injury-plagued quarterback at this point, and you took him 7th overall. So it just looks bad all in all. And in the very end this year, Kirk Cousins should have been your guy all along. And just because of that bad decision making, that bad drafting, he's out too. So Raheem Morris, I agree with you, Jim. He's definitely a defensive coordinator, and from now on has to just stay that way. Just be a D coordinator. You're going to be fine that way. No other team should ever give this guy a head coaching opportunity.
Now, amongst the others getting fired, Jonathan Gannon, where is he rate on your scheme? He hasn't, for me. I mean, he was given a shot. He's had 3 seasons there. This year finished 3-14 on the season. His record is 15-36. Yeah, 3 seasons with the Cardinals. He never reached the playoffs. Never finishing higher than 3rd. But that's a tough division to play against, to try and dig out of that hole. But never a healthy Kyler Murray altogether. And the healthiest he was last season, to where they looked good, an 8-9 season, to where they finished 3rd. Trey McBride trying to turn it on, but out again this year. Have an opportunity now to move forward and select the guy that he wants to move forward. Maybe make some more coaching decisions. He's a defensive minded coach. I feel like the defense was handled and they were getting better.
Yeah.
Offense just needed a spark, or that new guy, and you don't give him a shot again. And this is another organization who has a quick turnaround with these head coaches. We've seen Steve Wilkes there. That was a one and done. Kevin Kingsbury, Cliff Kingsbury was there for a couple of years and gone. And now Jonathan Gannon, 3 years, they're up and down, but I felt like they were on that cusp. And then now it's just probably a retune again, or a reset.
I think it's a terrible decision, to be honest with you, for the Cardinals. Jonathan Gannon, got to keep in mind, defensive-minded guy that you hired to be the head coach. I feel like he was making good football decisions in game. Even as they create that game plan for the week, the guy was handling his business, and he was doing what he needed to do. He improved that defense. I don't care about statistics out there and everything, because you got to remember, if your defense is on the football field all the time and your offense is on the sideline most of the time, that's an issue. That means your offense sucks. So to have your defensive players out there, and then as the game progresses, they get more and more fatigued to the point where now they're starting to give up big plays. The offense wasn't helping them. Kyler Murray Kyler Murray hasn't played enough. The guy's always injured. Since Jonathan Gannon got there, he's missed 2 seasons basically. You can't win without a starting quarterback either. And for the lackluster roster that they have, especially offensively, that was slowly being built. Paris Campbell at left tackle, they drafted him. You know what I mean? They've tried to hodgepodge and bring in free agents to fill in this offensive line to try to at least help keep it afloat. But let's face it. Let's just, it was a long-term rebuild when Jonathan Gannon got there. So I think this is a premature decision, giving up on a guy who not only has added to the talent on your defense, has improved that defense. I mean, you've seen it. When they play the Rams, they play them tough. When they play anybody, that defense plays them tough up into a point. When they start to drag, a little bit, they start to get more fatigued, and then they kind of get, beaten up a little bit. So to basically point the blame on Jonathan Gannon, it's not the right decision. This is a bad organizational decision to move on from Gannon when he had something cooking, especially defensively. Now, if you wanted to fire the OC that you had, by all means, go get someone else and see if you can help them turn it around. The GM for Arizona Cardinals, the finger should be pointed at him too, because his job is to help get players to get on that offensive side, to improve that offensive side of the ball for them. But it really hasn't improved enough. So I just think that Jonathan Gannon got the shaft on this one. I think that he didn't deserve to be fired. Now he is out there. He's a good coach. And I got to tell you, this guy that's available now, I'm not 100% sure that he'll get a head coaching job right away. But if you're able to bring this guy in as your defensive coordinator, I think that's another really good fit.
Yeah. Yeah, I think now I think that's the fit for him too, as defensive coordinator. Kind of go back to your roots again, rejuvenate your career, get another shot later down the road. Because after the failures like this, no
Mhm.
one's going to look at you, especially being that young, to kind of move on and go forward. We have the offensive coordinators of the likes of Tom Bunkin getting interviews. Cliff Kingsbury now no longer with the Washington Commanders. You're
Yeah.
hearing that now. So he's going to obviously be a name that's going out there for a bunch of different teams. I thought if he was available, that's a good spot even for the Giants to look at if you wanted somebody fresher, younger kind of type of thing that might fit that scheme with a Jackson Dart. you know um so I mean, there's a lot of different guys that can elevate that are coordinators now to head coaching jobs, and I think some of these guys now that are getting fired as head coaches go back to your roots. We've seen it with Robert Saleh. Now he was a
Mhm.
head coach for the Jets for a few years, had a pretty solid defense there, wasn't good enough for that team, gets the shaft, he's out, and now look what he's
It's a
doing
terrible
with
decision.
a hodgepodge of guys with San Francisco.
Yeah.
Multiple injuries on the defensive
Mhm.
side of the ball. Your captains are gone,
Right.
and they're in the playoffs.
Yeah. Hey, and got to go back to Cliff Kingsbury here
Mhm.
because is an interesting story to watch for because made no sense why they parted ways, and that's how it was phrased when they did that. Cliff Kingsbury was going so called said that he had a better opportunity to go after, and that could only mean one thing. Could only mean a head coaching job.
Yeah.
So something must have been said. There must have been a conversation of some sort with his agent, with another team. Had to be said for them to just him basically give up that offensive coordinator job and be basically a free agent right now to go somewhere. So that tells me that like maybe a team like the Ravens right now because they moved on from Harbaugh. And when you think about Cliff Kingsbury and his offensive calling experience, what has he had his whole coaching career in the NFL? A mobile quarterback. Arizona, Kyler Murray, Jaden Daniels with Washington,
Mhm.
and then Baltimore Ravens makes all the sense in the world for him to take over this job now as the head coach who can work with Lamar Jackson, who can give this offense a fresh, new, modernized type of playbook. And that's where I kind of really envision Cliff going. I don't think he left Washington by any means to be like, "Hey, I got better opportunities. I'm a free agent. Everybody come after me." Like, I don't think it was that. I think there was he knows something. Obviously, he does, but I'm saying like there was a conversation that had to be had for him to basically just give up on Jaden Daniels and that team and
Yeah.
say, "Oh, I'm going to go somewhere else." So it has to be a team like Baltimore. It could be another team like maybe like Miami, who knows? But I think Baltimore makes the most sense. They already have a team that is ready to win. I mean, let's face it, that roster is really good.
Yeah.
Good defense. You got Lamar Jackson, who's a freak of a quarterback. I think it just makes all the sense in the world. I think that's where he's going.
Yeah. And that sounds great for everyone. And again, the Baltimore Ravens fans are cheering, hurrah, we're good again, just like
But
that.
Jim,
You move on from
I,
John Harbaugh and they go right to Cliff Kingsbury.
I could also get the Giants.
Yeah.
Because Jackson Dart is that mobile quarterback. And
Hmm.
not to mention, unlike Baltimore, the Giants have a number one wide receiver. They got a legit
Yeah.
playmaker in Malik Neighbors.
Right.
And you have Dart, and you have Cam Scadaboo and Tyron Tracy in the backfield. You
Hmm.
just got to build that offensive line, really, and then maybe add another
Yeah.
receiver.
Yeah.
So that could be a tantalizing opportunity for Cliff too.
Right.
So maybe keep an eye out for that. Maybe see if they reach out to him to bring him in for an interview.
Right. It's what situation it is. If you're going to take the Baltimore Ravens head coaching job, you already know that you have Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, at least for a couple of years,
And an offensive line
in an
already.
offensive line. Yeah. I mean, an already playoff ready team. So who wouldn't jump on that where you don't have to do a whole lot? It's the jobs that you're like, all right, Tennessee Titans are interviewing Cliff Kingsbury. Does
Mhm.
he want to do that? I mean, yes, Cam Ward looks like he's getting better week to week, You know, it's his rookie season. But do you want to say, all right, now it's my job to kind of groom this guy to get this team going from the bottom up? Why people don't like to jump into that. So if you have the Baltimore Ravens job there available, that's got to be your number one. And if you're already saying I'm leaving for greener pastures,
he's going somewhere.
He's going somewhere.
There's
He's
no
like,
way.
I'm going to this project I really want to mess with and start. I mean, this looks really fun, you know?
I don't think, and that's the other thing is like for him to decide to move on from being an OC, it's
Yeah.
got to be a head coaching gig. It just has to be. It doesn't make any
Yes.
sense any other way. And the other interesting thing is you bring up Tennessee, is that's one of the destinations that would love to have him, but I don't know how to take this, honestly. I heard about this. Jason Garrett is going to get an interview for the head coaching job with Tennessee. I don't know if that's good, bad, or indifferent, but in my opinion, I never liked Garrett as a head coach. Even with the Dallas Cowboys, like I didn't really think he was that great of a head coach. I thought he won a lot of games based off of the talent that was already there. So that's another intriguing thing. And there's been a lot of weird kind of names that have been popping up recently. Philip Rivers, everybody. Has anybody heard about Philip Rivers? Yeah, the guy that suited up for the Colts recently, and is now newly retired again, wants to be a head coach in the NFL and says he can do it. Well, that's great and all, but you got to prove it. And the only experience that he has to lean on in terms of coaching is coaching in college. That's it. So who
And
knows?
I kind of looking at him on the sidelines, and you got him with the headset and looking at that, and yes, he's coached, you know, his sons and things like that.
Right.
I was kind of seeing that. I'm like, man, you know what? Now he's kind of got his foot back in the door. I don't see him going for head coaching jobs or anything like that, but start off small, quarterbacks coach, and get back into this. If you're coaching on a smaller level, but then now you can get into the big leagues again, work your way through it. Why not? And I think he's capable of doing that.
That's the thing, is what's to say he can actually call plays? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
No, we
it's
don't,
different.
but
It's not being a quarterback. Like, when you're a quarterback and I'm gonna
that's why,
audible and stuff like that, it's different.
right.
You
I get
have
that.
to, and
Well,
it's
why
not an
not
easy
though?
job. So I just don't know if he's gonna get an opportunity at all, honestly.
Well, they're
I mean,
lower grade, like, this QB's coach or whatever, and this and special
that's
teams
the
coach,
only thing I
they're
could see
lower
him
grade.
being.
Yeah, no, like I don't see him like jumping right up to the head of the class,
No,
I
but
don't see him being.
that's what he's saying he can do.
He's obviously going to say he can. I mean, everybody's got confidence like that. Oh, I feel I can do that. They're never going to say,
Although,
no, I feel a head coach is too much for me, but I'm going to be, I'm safe right here. Like, they're never going to say that. They're going to say, yeah, I feel like I can, and I have confidence in doing it.
it would be absolute gold just to listen to Philip Rivers talk to his players.
Oh, he's gonna be like Jim Schwartz, on the other end. Every time after a game's over, he's got
Never
something to
swearing.
say. He's like, I'm not gonna, but never swearing on the opposite side. I'm not gonna shake your hand, but I'm gonna get in your
Gosh
face.
darn it! I
Up
told
your
you
nose
to run
with a
the
rubber
route.
hose. You know what I'm saying?
Dag
Meanwhile, I haven't been paying attention to the chat though. We've got our man Mike Tackett. He's in the house with us.
What up, Mike?
He said Jason Garrett would be the equivalent to a DEI. Oh man, that's good.
I love it.
Oh man, I like that.
It.
Yeah,
that is great stuff.
There we go.
There by Mike.
Jim, can John Harbaugh turn around the Giants? I think he can. Like, I'm excited. Like, I want him. If I
You and
got
everybody else.
choice, yeah, it's like he's available because I was looking for experience again. Mike McCarthy, I'm kind of like hit or miss. I was like, that guy, he did stuff when he was with the Cowboys even too. Took him a little bit, but then he got to go. And plus they had so much talent there. But now Harbaugh's here. I just feel like the pedigree is there. He's been in the league for years. The constant playoffs. I think he's good with quarterbacks. That defense is already good. I mean, he's going to hire the right people as well. I mean, the record is there and it shows. So I feel like he would be a good fit right in with everybody.
I think Harbaugh's a great fit no matter where.
Yeah, no matter where.
Honestly,
I would be. Oh, that would be amazing.
He's one of those head coaches that this doesn't happen. This is a rarity when you get a head coach of his caliber available, free and clear to go after. So This is the best thing for Harbaugh too.
Yeah.
Like, even though he got fired from Baltimore and it sucks. I mean, obviously it sucks. He wanted to stay there. But now he's in the driver's seat. He can name his price. He can hand pick whatever situation he feels like going to. I mean,
Mhm.
there's a lot on like, it's gonna be the easiest thing for him. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it might be a little hard because maybe he
Mhm.
narrows it down to 3 teams and then it's
Mhm.
like, "Man, I really like all 3 of these teams, but man, I don't know. This team really doesn't have a defense. That team doesn't really have an offense. This team is kinda subpar." Yeah, there there's gonna be flaws with anybody that does or is able to obtain him, but
Mhm.
it's going to be a dream whoever wins the sweepstakes of John Harbaugh.
Yeah. Hot take and a dream just for Mike Tackett. All the teams that he interviews with, he wants to shop for the groceries and everything on top of it. They say no, just like they did with Belichick, and he goes and coaches for Michigan and beats Ohio State. Take that, Mike Tackett.
That's a demotion.
I know, but still, go
I don't
where
think that's
Jim
happening.
used to coach and stuff like that. I think that would be hilarious.
I
All
don't
right,
think
so
that's
all
happening.
right, I don't think it's going to happen. No,
No.
absolutely not. But like I said, dream scenario for me. Philip Rivers would be a great passing game coordinator. There we go. That's. I mean, I think he would. I think he has it. I think he's instantly when a guy jumps in and it seemed like all the players around him just drew to him. They listen to him. You know, I felt like that was that team, and now they kind of embraced him like that. And I feel like if he jumped onto a squad and was a lower grade coordinator coach, that would be approved too. I think he would fit in nicely. I think he knows how to talk to people. I mean, dude, yeah, he has so many kids. He got to know how to, discipline and how to work with all these other kids and people all the time. So deal with a whole football team. I'm sure he's on it. You know what I'm saying? So he can handle it. So I think he would be great. But yeah, like you said, head coach is ridiculous, but no person is going to say when somebody's asked, like, hey, what do you feel like? I feel like a head coach in this league. They're going to say that. They're not going to say, well, I can only do so much, well, it's not, they're going to say, they're going to shoot for
That's
the
his
stars.
that's his desires. He wants to
Yes.
be a head
Yeah.
coach
Yeah. Yeah.
for
Exactly.
sure.
Dream big. That's what you do, buddy.
Yep.
So he goes, Kyle's in the house with us.
What up, Kyle?
He says, I'm no team owner, but Philip Rivers wouldn't be on my radar as a head coach. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
We get
no,
that. No,
that's
no,
we're
no.
just saying that Philip
Especially when you,
Rivers,
yeah.
his name has been circulating as maybe a guy they might want to interview at least to see, like, does he have the mentality for it?
Mhm.
Just kick the tires, so to speak. And then let's just say this, like, I don't think he in no way, shape, or form do we think that he's going to land a head coaching
No,
job. Is
no.
even if the team is desperate, they're not going to go with a guy who's never had any kind of high-end coaching experience, even though he's a former player in the league. So um, I think it's a fun story to maybe just keep an eye on. Maybe who knows, maybe he can be a quarterback coach, passing game coordinator, like was suggested in the comments
Yeah.
below.
Mm.
Just to start off there and see just how good he can progress from there.
Yeah, so let us know in the chat too in the comments, so you guys for if there's an opening on your team or whoever the openings, who's the best fit for all the openings that are out there. So we're going to kind of go through that quick before we
Yeah.
move on. So first opening, let's go with Tennessee Titans. They picked first overall in the draft last year. They got Cam Ward. They started off rough, but they seemed like they started kind of pick up things. That defense was always playing fairly good. Mike McCoy was the interim coach for a little bit, but it doesn't seem like they're going to keep him around and move on. So
Mhm.
you would think that they would have to go offensively
Yeah.
to kind of keep this offense going, and hire a defensive coordinator, kind of work that defense. I think that's just going to plug and play there. So best
Right.
fit for the Tennessee Titans, Joe.
Kevin Stefanski,
Mhm.
because the reason why is even though it didn't work in Cleveland, this is kind of one of those things where Tennessee always screws up. They always screw up the coaching vacancies. They
Mhm.
always seem to hire the wrong people. Brian Callahan, who was a good OC, gets hired there and fired there in a matter of seconds, it felt like. Um, Never really got a chance to build that team. So, and I think there's a lot of like quick decision making with that front office and that organization to the point where like it doesn't matter who they hire because honestly they'll probably get it wrong. I think Stefanski is a guy who has the experience anyway. He's been around the block, so to speak. And if they want to take a shot on him, they can. I mean, I just don't. I think that's one of the least one of the teams where I feel like that's the least attractive team to go to. And some people are gonna argue and say, "Oh, but they got Cam Ward and they just need to build that offensive lineup and get some more weapons," and it's all well and good, but I don't think as good as Cam Ward has played down the stretch this year, that
Mhm.
team needs a lot. I mean, the defense is good. It's gotta be
Yeah.
better, but the offense is missing has a lot of holes there. Besides running back and quarterback, everything else needs to be upgraded. So, maybe
Mhm.
those young receivers in their second years take another
The
huge
second
step
years
forward. Who
just get
knows?
better, and yeah, they look pretty
But
good, but yeah.
but I
Mhm.
gotta say, like, I don't like this team as an attractive place to go to. So, like,
Right.
I would think it would be someone that is willing to take the job, maybe as a reconciled
I
type of
reckon
team, for maybe
it's a
contenders for
consolation
championship.
prize for
That's
whoever
right.
gets the Ravens team first, that coaching job, whoever gets the Ravens job first, and then it's gonna be the consolation. Alright, so who do I go to now, and who do I have to be kind of the quarterback's guru for?
Jason
So
Garrett, baby. Let's go.
Jason Garrett, no. So I feel like the Titans might even go further and look at Clint Kubiak. He's interviewing a lot with a lot of these different teams. Offensive coordinator for the Seahawks. You see what even him and Sam Darnold have done together. He's a hot name. So I feel like if it's not Stefanski, I like Stefanski too because he did have experience there. But when he did have quarterbacks in the house like Baker Mayfield, and you weren't able to win and get it done there, let's start fresh with somebody here that took a Sam Darnold that's on his second team in 2 years, but looking good in the last 2 years and work with that. Take a team that was just on the cusp of the playoffs last year and now take them to the number one seed in the NFC right now.
The only
That
problem that I have with
has a shot to go
Stefanski back
forward.
in Cleveland with Baker, I don't think Baker was bad at all with Stefanski. In fact, I think it was the organization that just gave up on Baker. I think if they
Mhm,
kept Baker there with Stefanski, we would see a better Cleveland Browns team right now.
mhm,
I think that was a big critical decision that was made up top that they definitely regret. Now Stefanski, you're right, still hasn't been able to turn that team around, but maybe he needs a new change of scenery. Maybe he needs a
mhm.
new different type of personnel to work with, younger personnel. So we'll see.
Yeah, all right. Now Atlanta Falcons, they were the team that got rid of cleaned house altogether
Mhm.
from top to bottom. So, I mean, do you
Yeah,
go with they're going to hire their GM first? Most
yeah.
likely,
Most. I
so
mean, that's
that's
what
the way you
you're
wanna do,
supposed to
start from
do
the
it.
top up. We've heard about Matt Ryan going there and being part of the front office. Now, is
Yep.
he just gonna be president of operations and kinda help with that head or that GM kind of search? So, who do you think they look at right now as some of the hot names for GMs around the league?
Matt Ryan, I think, is definitely going to be part of that front office. There's been too much smoke around that whole rumor that for it not to happen, and he's going to have a new created position. It's I forgot what it was called, but it does have president involved. It's not team president. It's not. It's some new freaking position that they're creating.
Mhm,
But again, he's going to be very critical in the search for the head coach and
mhm,
is going to give his opinions. And we've seen now this is starting to trend a little bit where we see former players getting involved, whether it be ownership or front office. They're getting a little bit more involved in these
yeah,
faculties. So it's interesting to see just how much power or how much decision making that these guys might have, or advice anyway, how much it
mhm,
carries. But the Atlanta Falcons, to me, the perfect person is the guy that you already mentioned is Clint Kubiak. Because not only will he get to work with Michael Penix, Kirk Cousins, we still don't know what holds for him in the near future. If anybody didn't hear already, Cousins did restructure his deal, breaking down those guarantees a little bit more. Now, that does, in fact, make him easier to cut now. June 1st,
mhm,
he could be a June 1st cut. Maybe they are going to move on from him and he'll be a free agent for whatever team it wants to line up for him.
mhm,
So that's still undecided. We don't know that dynamic. We don't know if Kirk is coming back or not. Um, but again, Clint Kubiak to me is the perfect guy to take over this team, because not only is this a younger ascending team, I mean, we saw the defense start to get better and better down the stretch. The offense got better with Kirk Cousins and his leadership. Maybe they keep him, who knows? But again, you got those young pieces on the offense too. Good offensive line play. So, and they play a zone blocking scheme, which fits Clint Kubiak's, his whole ideology, his mentality. It
Mhm.
fits what he wants to do. He wants to implement the zone blocking scheme. They have already been accustomed to it. Why not just hire Clint Kubiak, who's probably the most sought after offensive minded guy to be a head coach? Atlanta, if they were able to pull the trigger and lure him in, I feel like this Falcons team is not only going to be better for it next year, but it's a marriage that I think will work out really well.
All right, let's move on to the Baltimore Ravens. Actually, before we do, we have Kyle's in the chat. He says, I think it's great that retired players want to be involved. Who's a better option than someone who's been on the field with these guys?
I'll take a guy
Sometimes,
who's got experience in the front office over any former player.
yeah.
I'm going to be honest. Like, just because you're a former player in the league doesn't mean you know how to run a team. Doesn't mean you know
Mhm,
how to make talent evaluations. Like that's
mhm,
different. It's completely different. That's why they have scouts. That's why they have GMs that have been in the league, that have shown success, whether they be just under um, the GM and they're an assistant GM, and then I get their opportunity. But I'll take that over a former player. I mean, I feel like a former player that comes in and is automatically getting a kind of prestigious position right out of the gate with no real experience is kind of crazy, if you ask
mhm,
me. So
mhm.
I
Yeah,
don't,
we've
I'm
seen
not
a
too
lot of
comfortable with it.
successful coaches that have just been, just brought up through things. Look at Kyle Shanahan. He's just brought up through his dad and everything and learned the
Mhm.
ropes and learned how it goes and just moved on. And he's one of the best in the league. But then you also have a Sean McVay, former player, but also under great coaching trees as well moving forward. Matt LaFleur under that same coaching tree. So you get a mix of everything. But I understand what you're saying too, as well
Mhm.
as some of the even scouts, and we're seeing some of that more former scouts turned coordinators or low grade coaches, but moving up in the league as well. So I mean, we're seeing that trend move forward as well.
Right.
So Baltimore Ravens, I'm looking at that team like that's the sexiest job right now for anybody. But if when we talked about it with Cliff Kingsbury, if he's moving on from Washington and says, "All right, I can go into Baltimore with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, and then these guys and move on," I'm taking that job. So I'm just gonna say that he's a good top spot right there for them moving forward. If not Kevin Stefanski, kind of just to stay in within that division and then they kind of pull from there. But I'm looking for them to go younger and kind of more intuitive into that offense and what they can do and have like trick plays or whatnot.
Yeah, I don't think Mike Kevin Stefanski is even in the realm of
Mhm,
possibility for the Ravens. I definitely think this is Cliff's job
mhm.
to have. The It makes all the sense in the world. I don't see them going
Yeah.
any other direction,
Hmm.
honestly. The only way I could see someone different than Cliff Kingsbury is if McDaniels down in Miami gets fired,
Hmm.
because he has those creative plays, and what fun would it to be to watch him orchestrate that offense with Lamar Jackson. So, but that to me would be the only other guy that might be in the realm. I think this is Cliff's job. I think by the end of this week, you're going to see Cliff Kingsbury be hired as the new Baltimore Ravens head coach, and then he's going to get a chance to build that staff of his.
Yeah, and that's the opportunity that some of these teams have with some of the coaches that have been let go that have openings right now.
Mhm.
Get the head start, jump in, get your team together, see who you're getting on your staff. Instead of waiting for, say, your Clint Kubiak, people are looking at him. They requested interviews for
There's
them.
going to be a
You
lot of
know,
people too. Yeah.
right, and they're currently in the playoffs, so you're kind of holding out, you're waiting until
Yeah.
they
You
can get
can.
done to
Yep.
kind of bring him in.
Yep.
So that takes you longer. So to get
Right.
somebody like Cliff Kingsbury, John Harbaugh in the mix right now and get on the ground and boots on the ground and running, that's a key right here. So I think in the next couple of weeks we will see some of these guys find landing spots. Moving on to the New York Giants, I talked about it. John Harbaugh, I think that's a great spot for him there, but I'm not big on bringing Kafka back. I know some of the
No.
ownership and things like that. I love him there, and I know I get the gesture with John Mara and in
Mhm.
giving him a game ball and what he's been battling, and I understand that. And that was a class move from
Right.
Kafka, but it was also kind of like, really, bro? Like, you might be gone after this. You're like, hey, by the way, owner, here, you get a game ball. Don't you love me? Like, and I'm kind of like, so, but I think John Harbaugh fits. I think, Kevin Stefanski, if Harbaugh's not there, could be, I guess, an opportunity. Just somebody offensive minded that's been a head coach before. Because we've tried the rehashes already, the coordinators that come in and they haven't worked out for the last decade. So I'm looking for experience, somebody that's been there before, somebody with discipline that can move things
Mhm.
forward. And that's the only thing I'm worried about with Stefanski. I don't think he has much discipline.
I the Giant or what
Yeah.
I'll say
Giants.
is hold on.
Mhm.
All right. I was just seeing if that was some news popping up. Um,
Mhm.
so like for the Giants, what I would say is they're one of the I feel like they're one of the more entertaining teams to go and be a head coach for because
Mhm.
a lot of times you either don't have the quarterback in place or you're struggling so much on one side or the other that you need so much help that it's going to be hard to kind of rebuild that team. Where the Giants, I feel like they're one of the better teams to go in and be the head coach right now because they have the quarterback. They have not one but two young running backs. The offensive line definitely needs a lot of attention, but I don't think it's that far off to kind of turn this offense around. And then if you are able to add in the draft, you go get another high end wide receiver to pair up with Malik Neighbors for the following year. You just basically turned this offense around with a defense, by the way, that is stacked with talent. They
Mhm.
have the talent. They just need a little bit more help from the offense to
Mhm.
put points on the board so they can
Mhm.
get a breather on the sideline. And they do. They definitely have some really good players on that front seven. Even on the back end, there's some good defensive backs that they are able to bring in, Paulson Adebo and company. So I like this Giants team, and if I'm a coach looking for an opportunity, this might be one of the better ones to take because you're sitting in the driver's seat right now. You don't have to go get your quarterback. You don't have to completely rebuild that defense. The offense really needs more attention, but that's it. You could really turn this team around after this one off season and be super successful next year. We've seen
Mhm.
this team play whether they've been beaten, battered, but they still play tough. They're still fighting for every inch of every game. So to me, I think that there's a couple guys that come to mind for me. I will say the offensive coordinator from the Rams, Mike Kafka, or not Kafka. Who am I
No.
talking about? Um, Let me look up his name real
Shula?
quick. Nah, that's
Oh,
defensive
no, it's defensive
coordinator.
coordinator. Yep.
Where
Kyle
is it?
says Giants offensive line seems to always be the downfall for several years. They've been constantly looking for offensive line, and that's been our thing. Like, oh, but our O line sucks. But
Mhm.
Joe makes up a good point too, and that's why
Mike
when
LaFleur.
Mike LaFleur, yeah.
Mike
Yep.
LaFleur from the Rams. You bring in an
Mm-hmm.
offensive coordinator, and yes,
Yeah.
people are gonna say, "Well, he doesn't call the plays." I understand that, but it's been years of him sitting underneath Sean McVay. He's gonna get an opportunity at some point, and why not bring this guy in who is an offensive-minded guy, a younger guy who has that more modernized and creative type of play calling that you can pair him up with Jackson Dart, you can pair him up with all these guys, like, I feel like that would be a nice fit there, because the defense doesn't really need much. Defense has been pretty
Mm-hmm.
good. And
Mm-hmm.
who knows? Maybe you bring in a Raheem Morris to be the D coordinator for the Giants. So like you could pair him up as long as you were able to do that. I think this would be a nice fit for them as well.
Yeah, they could, and I wouldn't mind it again, I guess, as much, but I'm looking for stability, and I think that the Giants would be too. They've had enough of getting coordinators and moving through there. John Harbaugh, I think, just fits the mold better. He has discipline, he has experience. I think ownership would feel more comfortable, with him there, and to kind of have him take the reins with everything. I understand if the questions were hey, he's older, he's not understanding the way offenses are going here, and that's why we want him out. He's not connecting with the players. I don't think that would be a factor here with the Giants and what they're doing. I think the players there would openly invite him, especially with the track record that he has. Brian Burns and those guys on the defensive side would be like, hell yeah, let's bring this guy in here. And I think it was just set a standard that I feel like the ownership and the Giants, being one of the teams that have been there since the beginning to 1925, staple franchise, to invite and kind of rejuvenate that team and the pride that's in that team.
Yeah, John Harbaugh does make a lot of sense. Um, but the one other thing that I will too is got to mention Mike McCarthy's name. Mike McCarthy, I understand, like maybe a lot of Giants fans wouldn't like to hear that, him coming to the Giants and being their head coach, but the guy has been successful everywhere he's been. In Green
Yeah.
Bay, he was successful. Then he went to Dallas, was successful. Like now you have an opportunity too. Like if you were able to entertain Mike McCarthy, and I don't know if the Giants would even be interested in McCarthy.
Yeah.
But if they were, I don't think it's a bad fit. This is a guy who works
Yeah.
extremely well with quarterbacks, and his offense is very favorable for any player that plays in it. Like you can you look in Green Bay, you look in Dallas, and the success that he's had, the numbers that he puts up offensively. I mean, you pair him up with Jackson Dart and an upgraded offense for next year.
Mhm.
That's not a bad idea either. I obviously John Harbaugh is going to be number one on everybody's list.
Yeah.
Like since the news
Yeah.
broke,
It's the news broke. Yeah.
every team is going to be after Harbaugh. But if you can't get Harbaugh, I don't think that's a bad idea either.
Yeah. No, I understand that completely. So we've covered all the teams, all vacancies, openings out there. Some could drop tomorrow too, as well. And depending on what time you guys watch this episode, when we put it out there and gets
Oh, there's going to
reposted,
be
so there
more.
could be more even since then. So we're covering it as it goes. Mike McDaniels, he's been told that he's safe, but we're not sure exactly to how far that'll go, especially with some of the openings that are happening. And teams are
But
still
that's
picking GMs too on top of it.
yeah,
So
that's
that
one of
could
those
make
teams.
things change.
It's one of those teams to keep an eye on because I know the Dolphins front office and the owner especially loves John Harbaugh.
Mhm.
Like he could pull off all the stops and be like, "Oh, McDaniels, you're gone," and now he's available, and they are able to bring in Harbaugh. I mean, who knows what's going to happen? And so far, this coaching cycle has been absolutely insane already. So maybe McDaniels isn't as safe as we once thought this season. I know there was a lot of rumors, but maybe if the right coach became available, and that's what Miami was waiting for to make him expendable. So we'll see. We'll have to keep our eyes to the ground. And then there's a lot of other coaching vacancies that we can get to another time. Um, Obviously, the old man Winter, Pete Carroll's gone, so it'll be interesting to see how all these teams do conduct their interviews. We've already seen Clint Kubiak's name come up on a few different teams' radars. I don't think it's going to be the stopping point. I think he's going to have a long list of teams that are going to interview him. Vance Joseph is another interesting name to um, keep an eye on, as well as Chris Shula from the Rams, the D coordinator. There's a lot of defensive coordinators that are seen as the next head coach, and I feel like it might, because it's so slim with offensive minded guys this year,
Mhm.
that you might see a lot more defensive coordinators get hired this year just because of the lack of OC, caliber type of guys that are going for the head coaching job. So
Yeah.
interesting scenarios that are going to take place for sure.
Yeah, we didn't even bring up your Vegas Raiders too. I forgot all about that. The fact that you guys do have
Yeah,
the
there's 7 vacancies.
number one overall pick, you're most likely taking Mendoza, right? I mean, is that what you're looking at, in quarterback here? So you would obviously be thinking offensive minded coach too on top of it. But when you have vacancies and what's the most sexy job, and that people want to go towards, is it the Raiders? Is it somebody that's going to jump into that and have a rookie quarterback and kind of take the reins on that? For me, I feel like that's going to be one of your coordinators that you're going to be giving a head coaching job for the first time, that feels they can work with a guy and kind of build their brand with this quarterback and move forward. I wouldn't see like a Hardball or something like that coming in, especially seeing they already had, I know Pete Carroll's not an offensive minded guy, but they grabbed somebody that they knew he's been around, he's got experience, he's got championships, but that ship has sailed. So I think they go offensive minded, whoever they can grab to kind of help this quarterback move forward for your franchise.
I think that's the idea, but again, there's not a whole lot of offensive
Mhm.
talented guys that are coordinators that you could bring on and just have confidence in being the
Mhm.
head coach. Clint
Mhm.
Kubiak is one of the higher names. John Harbaugh now obviously is skyrocketed right up. Um, but like I've heard Clint Kubiak is a possible guy that they really like. But again, I don't think he fits what they have been taught with their offensive line. He's like again, he's his own blocker. The Raiders have always had like for the most part power blocking. Um, I don't know if it's necessarily a great fit. I get it. He's done a great job with Sam Darnold in his first year with Seattle. So I mean, there's that. Like maybe he can help Mendoza if that is the quarterback that they take, which I don't see how it could be anybody else
Mhm.
at the moment
Mhm.
that I feel like that's the direction they would want to go. But
Yeah.
I feel like also they are heavily interested in a couple of defensive coordinators, like a guy
Yeah.
like Chris Shula, who
Mhm.
maybe if you hired Chris Shula, you could also possibly convince to bring over um, Mike there for the Rams.
Mhm.
And if you could maybe give him that offensive coordinator job, but again, the Rams could say, "Hey, we're not going to let him go." You
Yeah,
know what I
Mike
mean? It could be
LaFleur.
one of those
Mhm.
things where even though he's not calling the plays, he's still got that title of OC, so they could have the right to refuse that. But Robert Saleh is another one.
Mhm.
I know the Raiders tried to get Robert Saleh late in the coaching hires when they were pursuing Pete Carroll. Before Robert Saleh made that decision to go back to the Niners, he was a candidate that they really would have liked to bring in. So yeah, I feel like because of the lack of high talented offensive minds for head coach, I feel like um, I, I just don't know necessarily if Clint Kubiak's going to choose that destination with Vegas. So
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
um, it's again, it's. I feel like there's a few great destinations if you wanna be either a first-time coach or even just is your second stint. I really believe the Giants are one of those teams that is a high-end job that you would love to take over. I also think that, the Raiders, for a couple different reasons, as bad as the Raiders were this year, 2 years ago, they were better, but they fired everybody.
Mhm.
And then this year, you got worse. So
Yeah.
with a team that's going into an off season where now you have the number one overall pick, at least in the first round, you're going to be able to have your choice at quarterback or whatever else they decide. You also have the second most salary cap at your disposal with brand new facilities. You know what I mean? Like, you got a brand new stadium, you got brand new workout facilities. So it's like there's a lot going on there in terms of that aspect. So maybe a coach could be inclined to be like, hey, you know what? Man, we got a nice place to work out in. We got tons of money to spend in free agents. Maybe we can add some big time players from free agency and with the draft. Maybe who knows? Maybe it's tantalizing to go after, but I definitely think that the Giants are one of those other teams that I'd really like for someone to take over.
All right. So there you go. We were talking about the head coaching carousel, and it's going to continue. We'll see where some of these jobs land and where these coaches land and who fills these voids. And we've got the wild card playoff coming up. Joe, let's just kind of run through these couple matchups quick and just kind of give a preview. We're not going to dig deep into it all, but just kind of look at the matchups, say who's got to do what to win this game. It's win or go home. Everything resets this week. You got your shot to get back into this thing. This past weekend, the scenarios that unfolded. I mean the NFC South situation with Atlanta and the Panthers and Tampa
Mhm.
Bay all in a three-way tie, but then the Panthers on top of it all due to wins and tiebreakers, craziness. And then the fact that you have teams watching these other games and waiting to see what happens to see if they're in or out. So the drama was there. It was crazy. We had epic fails too at the end of some of these games too. Uh,
Mhm.
and especially that Steelers game was brutal at the end to watch some of that. Baltimore, another team, and maybe that's part of the two reason why John Harbaugh's not there too. That one thing we brought up at the beginning of the season, the fact that they have big leads and they give up the lead. Like, they have had so many games where they've given up the lead in the second half of the games, and that's telling. So, all right, so get up to the first matchup, the Panthers and the Rams. We've seen the Panthers beat the Rams before in the regular season, but are the Rams ready now this year in the playoffs to kind of make the push and beat a team that they should beat? The Carolina Panthers, who are just backdooring into this. They're like, we're surprised that they're a team that's in here for the playoffs, right. But they're here now. So how will they perform against the Rams here? What do the Rams have to do to take care of business, Joe?
Just play the game.
Just play the game.
Leave the locker room, step onto the football field, and just do what you've been doing all year. I mean, that's really all it is. This should not be a contest. Let's put it that way. It shouldn't be. We have seen the Rams sometimes play down to their competition and makes you scratch your head and be like, what's happening? What is this team? But again, the Panthers, they're going to be flying high, on emotion. Obviously, like this is like, it's been a while since they were even in the playoffs. So, I mean, going to be excited. They're going to bring their A game. Their defense is going to keep them in the game early on for the most part. That defense is going to be really, really good as they continue to move forward. But the offense with Bryce Young, you just don't know what you're going to get from the guy week to week. Now you're on the big stage. This is playoffs. There is no next week if you lose. So we've seen him struggle, the last week of the season. And that's not good to do when you're about to hopefully make the playoffs. So this is a game where I feel like is going to be decided fairly early, maybe even right before halftime. The Rams are going to pull away. There's just too much weaponry in the arsenal for the Rams not to win this game.
Yeah, the Rams just got to take care of business. Your team that's going in there, you should beat the team like the Carolina Panthers. Panthers end up getting the home field advantage in this one because of the fact that they were and took the division. So that's bodes well for them, their record here at home this season. But the Rams, overall, a better team, even if they do not have Devontae Adams. The Panthers are going to try and cover Puka Nacua as much as they can, but he's proven that doesn't matter. He's going to make big plays. It's just the Rams need to go in there and take care of business. Like you said, they go in there, play the game, do what they should be doing, and they should come out of here and win. They should come out of this win. So, but yeah.
Here's the other interesting thing is you're going to see a lot of matchups in the playoffs where teams that are looking for coaches, they have to wait for some of these guys.
Yeah.
Like the Rams. The Rams got coordinators that teams want to interview. So maybe teams are holding off a little bit. Maybe they're going to conduct their other interviews with guys that are available right now. But there's going to be a couple teams that I feel like are just going to be like, we're interviewing this guy. We're interviewing that guy. We're getting ready to interview the guy that we really want. So keep an eye out for that, depending on how this game goes.
All right, next, Packers and Bears. This matchup is definitely got heated in this whole season here this year. It's craziness, but injuries for the Packers up and down. At one point in the beginning of the season, I had said that this is one of the hottest teams, if not the best team in the league. Since then, it's been up and down and very head scratching, but I got to give it to the Matt LaFleur too, and how he's kind of coached this team and what they've done with Malik Willis to fill in at times. We've seen, was it Clayton Tune last week and stuff, and still, I feel like they weren't exactly out of it, and it was kind of a head scratcher at the end of that game, even though they're getting shut out to stop at 1 second and kick the field goal there. But to come into this game and this matchup against the Bears, it's a heated rivalry. The Bears look pretty good, and they're fired up under Ben Johnson right now. But who do you think can take this one here? Is it the Bears' turn to lead this NFC North?
Isn't it crazy? Like early on in the season, we never anticipated the Bears making the playoffs. Going to be completely honest.
No.
And now they're here, and they're playing so much better with Ben Johnson leading the charge. I mean, Caleb Williams definitely has been playing better. This is a different atmosphere, though. I wonder, because it'll be his first time in the NFL playing in a playoff game. I would just wonder how he's going to be able to kind of maintain his emotions. You know what I mean? Not to get too heightened. Don't let the excitement get to you to where you're starting to airmail some balls and miss targets and start to struggle. Now's not the time. The Packers, they've been here before. That's what they got under their belt. Like, Jordan Love and company, they've been here. Even though they're a younger team, they've been in the playoffs. They know what it's like. They know what the atmosphere brings. So, and Ben Johnson too. Ben Johnson has experience, obviously, with the Detroit Lions being in the playoffs. So it's not going to phase him and his coaching ability. So, this, I'll tell you right now, this is going to be one of the better playoff games to watch. Like, I feel
Yeah.
like this game is going to go back and forth. I don't know how much. I don't know how high scoring it's going to be because both teams have good defenses.
Yeah.
So it's going to come down to trench warfare, really. It's going to come down to the offensive lines of each team, who can protect their quarterback better, who can create some running lanes for the running backs. I gotta say, like, and this is happening at 8 o'clock at night. I don't know what the weather is going to be. It's in
Mhm.
Chicago. Could be
Mhm.
windy. Could be cold and windy. Could be snow. Who knows? Uh, but I will say this: I think that both teams, no matter what the elements are, they both have played in all of them. So I'm
Yeah.
going to go with the more experienced team in this. I'm going to go with the Packers to get through.
Mhm. This is a game where there's going to have a lot of questions that people are going to have and want to see answered. Jordan Love in the playoffs. We asked this
Got to
question
rise
before the
up.
season
Yeah.
started. You got to rise up. He's cool, calm, collected, things like that, but you got to get it done. And against a young and up and coming team and a team that we didn't expect here, you
Mhm.
got to make a staple right here, statement game right here against a rival in their house, shut them down, say, hey, they're here prematurely. Let's get them out of here. You cannot let Caleb Williams out of the pocket, get lateral, because that's where he's making those big plays. He's going
Yeah,
lateral
running.
across that line and bootlegging out and making plays. And you want to get him contained and running backwards because you've seen him do that continuously, 10 yards, 15 yards backwards, and make the mistakes. And that's one thing you want to try and do. You want to make him unsettled. And that would be the key to this game for the Green Bay Packers. It's going to be a tight one. It's going to be exciting. I can't wait to watch this thing either, Joe. I mean, but let's see.
How
That's the questions that need to be answered.
how sick would you be if you're Micah Parsons right now?
Oh yeah,
You can't play in the
you can't
game.
play.
You
Yeah,
can
and you're there.
watch, you can root
Mhm.
on your teammates, but you can't play in the game. That's gotta suck so bad.
All right. Next up, we've got the Buffalo Bills and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Yeah, the Jags here at home. They're kind of that underdog team, the team that people didn't expect to be here as well. We've got the
Mhm.
Bills who have been the darling. Let's face it. I mean, all the analysts and we're saying in the beginning of the season, this is the year, and the Bills have kind of come up short. And now they're going into this thing. What are they? The seventh or sixth seed in this one, right?
Mhm.
So the defense doesn't look very good. Sean McDermott, surprisingly, who knows? See, now we've seen Harbaugh gone. He could be, if they don't make it, I've even heard Bills fans say, dude, he's got to go after this year. If they get
Yeah.
beat by the Jags, this has got to be the statement game for them, for their coach. If they are playing for their coach, they need to win this game because Jacksonville was not meant to be here. Liam Cohen making this team look like a Super Bowl
Ooh.
team here, and they're scary. So you need to make the statement here. If you go out by the Jags, that's it. The writing is on the wall. You might as well say McDermott's out of here.
Yeah, and we've we're skeptical if the Bills would even, stay in the running for the playoffs. I mean, there was a stretch where it's like looking a little shaky, but they were able to pull it off and make the playoffs, and here they are. But they're playing a very tough opponent. I mean, the Jaguars, we already knew how good their defense was, but then the fact that Liam Cohen comes in and in that rookie head coaching year of his, he's completely turned the mindset around for Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is looking so much better as a quarterback,
Mhm.
and it's because he's not being held to being just a pure packet or pocket passer.
Mhm.
He's being allowed to utilize his legs more than ever. I've never seen this Trevor Lawrence
Mhm.
in the NFL. I've seen him back in Clemson do this. I mean, that
Mhm.
was it wasn't news to me back then, but then like ever since he's been in the NFL, he's been disappointing as a quarterback. He hasn't been able to use his legs, but now that knowing with Liam Cohen, he's like, you know what? Hey, if it's not there and you see an opening, go for it. Just run. We've
Mhm.
seen him time and time again break down defenses that way, and it really hinders them. And this is the Bills defense that he's going to be going up against, mind you, that does struggle against the run. That isn't that
Yeah.
rock solid
Mhm.
Bills defense that we once used to know.
Yeah.
I don't care. You can sign Joey Bosa on here, who's much older, a guy who tends to get injured. Like, but you're bringing some of these older veterans back into play, and it's just still not working for
Yeah.
Sean McDermott. And this is his gig. He's a
Yeah.
defensive guy.
Mhm.
He should be able to improve and make this defense better, but he hasn't been able to now. And that's where you're starting to get some of those rumors about questionable. Does he come back? Are they going to move on? And you might be right, Jim. This could be a game where he's battling for his head coaching career here. Jaguars, definitely tough. They are home, by the way. And I tell you right now, I got to give it to the Jags, man. I got
Mhm.
to. I think the Jaguars have proven to everybody that they are not just a temporary Cinderella team, but they
Mhm.
are a team that is ready to go now and to the near future. So I think this is me a great game. I'll never count out Josh Allen, by the way. I'll
Mhm.
never
Yeah.
count him out
Nope.
because when you start to count out a guy like this, somehow he just finds a way. And and you know what? I think he's going to bring it right down to the very last remaining seconds of this game to decide the game winner of it. But I'm going to go lean on the Jags on this one.
Yeah, I'm liking what the Jags do too, and it's on that defense who happens to turn the ball over and turn it into points. So that's always good too, and that's what you're seeing with some of these good teams in the playoffs this year. Teams that can turn the ball over and score. So when you have your offense doing clicking what you're doing, like you're talking about Trevor Lawrence being able to run the ball effectively, now that Jacoby Myers, a veteran, has joined the team too, getting better, getting Brian Thomas more looks too on top of it, the defense scoring points on the other side. So, I mean, you're scoring, you get off the field, and the defense runs one down there too. This is beautiful. And so that team's running on all cylinders right now. Something that's not going down. Like you said, never count Josh Allen out. But if he's getting
Mhm.
pressured and turns the ball over, they're probably turning into points on the board on that side too. It can get ugly for them. So
I
I'm
will.
hearing you on that one
I'll
as well.
say one more thing about the Jaguars. It's not completely Liam Cohen. The majority of it is because he is the head coach, but the new rookie GM in place as well, Joey
Mm.
Gladstone.
Hmm.
I gotta tell you, this guy has made some aggressive, ballsy moves, whether it be a
Hmm.
trade for Jacoby Myers or in the draft trading up to get Travis
Travis
Hunter.
Hunter. Yep.
So this guy is an aggressive GM. We've already seen him make a couple of big time moves, and the drafting looks pretty rock solid. So this could be a team that's going to be around for a long time. Jaguars going to be a tough out for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you talk about McDermott, same thing. And I'm surprised that Brandon Bean isn't getting more pressure either, too, because the guys he does bring in, they're aging veterans. The
Right.
guys that are there on your defense, and veterans that have been there forever, that
Band
are
aids.
very prone.
Band aid.
Rousseau, Matt
Band aid.
Milano, they're not getting any younger. You're not getting new talent in. So,
Mhm.
all right. So next, move on here to 49ers and the Eagles. This one's going to be really intriguing too, as well. 49ers kind of jumping in there, had a spot to get the number one spot, but couldn't wrap it up. But this matchup, man, this is going to be a good one too to watch. I mean, I'm hoping that the Eagles do not get it done, because I've
Of
had a bunch
course.
of Eagles
Of
lately,
course.
being a Giants fan.
Giants
Uh,
fan.
and,
Yeah.
and it was tough when you got to root against the Chiefs or the
Mhm.
Eagles. Like, who do you pick in that one? So last year's Super Bowl was nuts, but 49ers, I like what they're doing. I like what their GMs have done. I know their president of operations too is getting looked at for GM spots at other teams too as well.
Mhm.
So Shanahan, does he get another crack at it to make another run for a Super Bowl here? We've talked about this door being wide open for a lot of these different teams, like so many different teams that haven't been here before, teams
Mhm.
that are getting new people on the board and getting back to the playoffs. So this is an open spot for Shanahan to kind of flex through and come through with this team that's kind of sneaky.
Man, I gotta say, I feel terrible for the 49ers right now. I mean, this is a hot team until the Seahawks took them down.
Mhm.
I mean, that was that game, that Seahawks Niners game, I think was a bigger deal to the Niners than it was
Yeah.
Seahawks.
Yeah.
And it was because of this matchup, the Eagles, because you're going to
Mhm.
travel all the way to the East Coast. It's going to be cold. It's going to be uncomfortable for the Niners. That's not to say that they're not going to be able to have a chance to win. Of course they are. They have been so resilient up to this point that how could you not say, well, at least they got a chance?
Yeah.
I feel like if the script was flipped and Seattle was going to Philly, they'd be okay because they play in this. They live
Mhm.
in the cold weather and everything. I don't think it'd be much of a factor, but the Niners have that nice warm California sun every time, and now you're going to be going to Philly where who knows what the weather's going to bring. And if the weather is nasty, if it's ice cold, that's going to play in favor for the Eagles, where
Mhm.
Niners might struggle sometimes in that game. But if it's pretty mild, I think that's gonna make for a excellent game, overall. These are 2 big juggernauts that I feel like are gonna clash, and it's gonna be um, very tough, uh,
Mhm.
for either team to kinda come out and just take the lead and run with it. Like, this is gonna come down to the team that makes the least mistakes in this scenario, I feel like, is going to come out victorious. We've seen Jalen Hurts have some bad games. We've seen him
Yeah.
be pretty lackluster at times, not spreading the ball around all the time. But now he's getting better. You saw that Eagles offense better, but that Eagles run offense though is struggling a little bit
Mhm.
now. So
Mhm.
I'm a little perplexed what we're going to
Right.
actually see from the Eagles, and then for the Niners, for Brock Purdy, not not being the Brock Purdy that we saw 2 weeks ago. You know what I mean? And playing and struggling against Seattle, and they weren't even able to put points on the board.
Mhm. Mhm.
So both teams are going into this playoffs not exactly the way they wanted it to be. So there's not a whole lot of momentum for either side. Again, I feel like this is going to be a tough win, regardless of who wins it. I think
Yep.
I'm going to lean towards the Eagles on this one, just
Mhm.
because of not only home field advantage, but I look at the offensive lines and defensive lines. I kind of tend to like
Yeah.
the Eagles, trenches a little bit better.
Mhm. Yeah, the key for the Eagles, again, shut down McCaffrey. You saw the difference last week when that happened here with what Seattle did, pressure Brock Purdy. That's what you want to do. And when you're the 49ers, I mean, there's so much talent on the Eagles side. Who do you want to cover? So you're going to pick your poison on that one. So you expect the Eagles to try and come with it, and you could see a breakout game of one of these guys here, depending on who they go to.
Mm,
All right, so let's move on. We got 2 more games here. We've got the Patriots and the Chargers. This is probably the least entertaining that I really care about to watch. I mean, Chargers, they kind of, crept their way into the playoffs too. They're kind of like a meh team to me. If they were an emoji, they're meh. And the Patriots, everybody is talking about too. Oh, still even today, I heard, well, their schedule wasn't very good. They're just not good. I think they're going to get beat easy and onto here and blah, blah, blah. I don't think so, because they're also a team that when they did lose to some tougher competition that had it above 500, but
mhm,
some of the competition that wasn't up to par, they destroyed. And that's key, because we've seen some of these other teams who have maybe beaten even the Patriots too, really have closer games against teams that they really should have taken care of business. And when it comes playoff time, when it's time to take care of business, you got to take care of business. And Vrabel, we've seen him do it with the Tennessee Titans. They're one of those teams that beat the Baltimore Ravens in the playoffs against John Harbaugh and stuff. So he has the experience. He's going to coach that to these players here. Say, hey, I've been here with this franchise before. I've been here with another one and other guys. We can do this, and you guys can do this. And I think that's going to be the key factor in this one, as opposed to Jim Harbaugh. He's been there. He's been to the Super Bowl too as well with the 49ers and stuff. But
mhm.
injuries, offensive line, quarterback still banged up. I got to go right with the hot hand and the Patriots in this one.
Yeah, I mean, this is a Chargers team that, they looked really good early on when Herbert didn't have his, non-throwing hand injured. But now you're starting to see it take effect, and then right as you get into the playoffs, they had to rest him. They didn't even play him the final week of the season. So, um, you got to wonder about this matchup here. Like, is it going to be enough for? It's not the Northeast, bro.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, I
not the
know. Yeah, that's
Northeast.
true. That's true. Yeah.
So,
What are you talking about?
um,
Uh,
but,
uh,
like, for the Patriots, like,
yeah.
this is a team that was kind of on the brink of being that number 1 seed in the AFC. So, they're
Mhm.
facing probably the toughest matchup they could possibly face in these first round of the playoffs. So, Patriots should definitely be able to win this game. I don't think it's gonna be easy. I think a lot of these games may
Yeah.
even be close the whole time. Uh Making it great playoff football. But again, Patriots are the favorites. They are home. Chargers, I just don't think they're going to have enough answers for it because as soon as the
Yeah.
Patriots start to get a lead, this Chargers offense is not built that way. They're not built
Mm-hmm.
for comeback football.
Yeah, they're
So
not.
I think that they might struggle into this game, and the Patriots actually easily win this game.
Yeah, I agree too. There's more balanced and healthier at this point too. So I mean, I go Patriots. All right, next we've got the Texans and the Steelers. We just found out again who the team was going to be that just got to play the Texans here, and the Steelers barely edge out that game. When that was terrible. Like they should not even be there. I mean, they couldn't put up offense a whole 3 quarters. And they mustered up something out of nothing. I mean, Baltimore just laid an egg in the second half of that one and just gave it to them. And then the missed field goal at the end. So it's rough. Aaron Rodgers lives to fight another day.
By the way, poor Tyler Loop. I feel so bad for the guy.
Dude.
He ended up losing his job after that.
Yeah.
He got released.
Right?
He got released today. No, you don't have to. He missed one. Come on. Like the guy was pretty good for you all season, and then I understand it was a critical kick, but geez Louise, like now you got to find a new kicker. Like apparently it's hard for NFL teams to find them. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, it's tough, but I mean this matchup here, the team just looks old. The Steelers. I mean, let's give it what it is. Yes, at times you see the defense even kind of keep this team alive. Right in the defense, what the players that they're doing, Hayward's still playing at a good level. See Highsmith doing his thing. TJ Watt, showing glimpses. Aaron Rodgers out there kind of doing what he can. We've seen some really nice throws and what he did last week.
It's not on him, yeah.
But no, and we brought this up last week or the week before when we had our show. Is DK Metcalf really killing this team? When yes, it showed. It showed for 2 weeks in a row that you just destroyed this team and what you're doing here. Luckily, you had a kicker on the other side that just missed an easy chip shot. And now you guys live to fight another day here, but it doesn't look good for the Steelers. And I got to go with the Texans on this one. They got a really good defense, creates turnovers, creates pressure, can score too on defense. And also CJ Stroud getting better week to week with what they got going on in that running game. So I like the Texans on this one.
The Steelers, for me, I feel like this is going to be a struggle for DK Metcalf now. Hasn't played, you know what I mean? It's basically going to be 3 weeks of not playing in a live action game. And now you're going to have some rust. I don't know the level of practice that he was involved in. When you're suspended, there's some different rules there where he might not have been able to practice with the team either. So something to monitor with DK Metcalf is like just how rusty he ends up playing. Is he going to have the dropsies a little bit here and there because he hasn't been in that live action atmosphere in a while? And now you're in playoff football. Like you got to bring it. And you got to make some big time plays for Aaron Rodgers, because if you don't, then this team is going to fall behind and fall behind fast. This is a Texans defense, mind you, that is one of the best defenses in football. And nobody, and we said this before the end of the season, we said nobody wanted to face the Houston Texans in the playoffs. If the Texans made it, we were like, no one wants to face them. And this is a bad coin flip for the Steelers, for them to come into the playoffs, and they got to face one of the better and hottest teams in the AFC. So, like you mentioned, like they're going to, I love the fact that the Texans offense is actually emerging and getting better. You're seeing some of these rookies starting to step up. Jaden Higgins, becoming more of a factor, and it's not all on Nico Collins anymore. Now, CJ Stroud is starting to trust Higgins, and he's starting to throw him the ball a little bit more. So, along with Dalton Schultz and everybody in company. But I really like the fact that this team, even though they have to travel to Pittsburgh, definitely a tough place to play, hard environment. Again, weather is going to be involved in this game too. Just how cold is it going to be in Pittsburgh? Is that going to affect CJ Stroud and his ability? So it's going to be a good matchup. I got to say, like at least for the Steelers, they get DK back. I just don't know how well they're going to be able to handle their offense against this tough defense. So yeah, I mean Texans all day long. I can't imagine a world where the Texans lose this game.
Yeah,
just can't.
Yeah, it could. The only thing for me would be weather, right? So Yeah, I mean, that's the matchups here. They're going to be exciting, and we could potentially see McDermott, Mike Tomlin on the chopping block this weekend, after this weekend. So
That's the other thing is a couple of dominoes could fall based on
Mhm.
if their teams
Base
lose, right? So
yeah,
like
yeah.
if the Steelers and Mike Tomlin lose this game, regardless of even because they made it, um, does that put in question like Tomlin's tenure as a Pittsburgh head coach?
Mhm.
You got to
Mhm.
wonder because there was a lot of rumors before we even got to this point, and now that they got in the playoffs, does that still mean he's not safe?
Mm.
You know, I
Mhm.
gotta wonder. And then you have a team like you mentioned, Jim. Like this is a older looking team. Like they got some younger guys in there mixed in and stuff, but you got an aging quarterback, which with no future. This
Mhm.
guy is not even. There's no definite. No definite way that he comes back
Yeah.
next year. You
Yeah.
sign him to this 1 year deal. He might not even want to return. He might want to go to a different team if he wants to still play or just retire.
Mhm.
And then what do you do? Then you
Mhm.
still have no quarterback.
Yeah.
It just
Yeah.
I feel like this team has dragged this whole playoff caliber team too far
Mhm.
to the point where, like, now they got nothing in return in terms of their personnel.
Yeah.
They're lacking in a lot of
Mhm.
key positions. So, it means the end for Tomlin. Who knows? And if let's just say crazy scenario, Bills lose and Steelers lose, Sean McDermott gets fired and Mike Tomlin gets fired. We went from having one of the worst head coaching cycles to having a lot of experienced,
Mhm.
decent coaches to be had at. So
Right. Yeah.
we'll
So
see.
I'm wondering how long, if some of these teams that are interviewing and looking, how long it will take for somebody to land a job. Do they wait 2, 3 weeks? So I think that it's unfolding. It could be whatever happens after this weekend. So, all right. So that's it. That's the show for this week. We had a lot of fun talking about all the different scenarios, and there's going to be more moving on. Like we
Yep.
just said, even go 2, 3 weeks about some of this stuff. And the wild card weekend, it's going to be awesome. We're going to have a lot of fun and talking about that and seeing those games, really good matchups. We really appreciate you guys watching the shows, interacting, all the people that went on the chat too. Appreciate you out there. Joe, tell everybody before we head out of here where they can find more episodes just like this one at Grumblings Media.
Yeah, do us a huge favor. Head over if you want to support the channel. Go head over to YouTube for us at Grumblings Media. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Hit the thumbs up as well. It does help us get noticed a little bit more. Don't forget to tell a friend, and share the video. Thank you guys so much for all the support, and we'll see you in the next one.
All right, see you guys.